Hi, this is Dawn.
And this is Ravenwind. And you're listening to the Feather and Bone podcast, two witches talking about everything witchy and nothing at all.
I wanted to say, people are going to be so confused because I have my real name.
Mm-hmm.
I have my magical name.
Uh-huh.
And Dawn isn't related to either of those.
Mm-mm.
So nobody's going to know what to call me.
And we're both eating McDonald's today.
Yes.
Breakfast. Of heart disease. So, we had the metaphysical fair, the psychic and metaphysical fair over the weekend at the historic haunted Heyman house.
I'm still recovering.
Yeah, it was great.
It was awesome.
It was great. We got to see a lot of people. We got to meet new people. We got to meet people in person that we've only known on the interwebs up to this point. But it was great. It was fantastic.
I think your dog likes me.
Yeah, we're recording in my house today. We normally record at her house, but she's over here this morning. And of course, you know, the dog wants the food. So if you hear papers rattle, you know, that's the wrappers on our sandwiches.
Can I give her my hand?
Sure. So
I have a best friend for life now.
I know. She's like, okay, this woman needs to adopt me because I won't give her food.
She's going to stare at you now like, you bitch.
Yeah. So we're going to do a 3-part series on jinxes, hexes, and curses.
For the record, I tried to help.
Yeah.
I really did try.
Yeah.
And me and the internet don't work well together.
It's like she can try to find, like she can try to search for something that anyone in their right mind should be able to find.
And you've watched. You've seen it. You've seen it.
And it's like you can't find, you know, like you could try to search for a coupon and you couldn't find it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'm going to find this ancient text that's been lost, and you know, and I'm like, oh look, here's the website that I found it on.
I know. We can sit right next to each other and Google the exact same thing.
Yeah, the same words, everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. Like when I was in high school, I had a class. Of course, you know, we had like we did computers instead of just keyboarding. We had like just computers in general. And one of the classes was how to search for things on the internet. When
I was in high school, we were still learning how to type on freaking typewriters.
Yeah. Like, you know, sometimes when you'll do a search on the internet and you're looking for one specific thing and you're getting all of these answers that have nothing to do with what you're looking for.
Yeah.
If you put what you're looking for in parentheses, that tells the search engine that it has to include those words.
In quotes or parentheses?
Quotes. You're correct.
I was watching your fingers.
And you were like, those are quotes. Those are not parentheses. So anyway, we're going to do a 3-part series. So one a week, you're going to get a little information on this stuff. So we figured we would start with, like the lesser of these 3 and then work up through them. So I figure we'll start out like first just telling the difference between the 3, just like a kind of quick nitty gritty difference. A jinx is a form of magic where the subject gets bad luck, minor misfortunes. It's simple, nasty, but it isn't meant to seriously harm someone. Usually it only lasts a little while. A hex is a form of magic more powerful than a jinx. It lasts longer and it is usually broken when the subject learns their lesson. And then a curse is the most powerful, and if done well, can last a lifetime or even longer. It can be cast on a person or a family and can last forever or until something is done to atone for whatever, you know, caused the curse to happen.
And that's my favorite one.
Yeah, she's like the smallest offense, and she's like, curse you! So I have several websites here that I used, and I kind of pieced all the information together to kind of flow, so I don't remember which website provided which information. But you can go to all of these. The first one is witchesofthecraft.com, violetwitchcraft.com, aminoapps.com, mysecrethoodoo.blogspot.com, and carolinaconjure.com. So you can go check out all those .coms, and
won't.
Yeah, she's like, if I can't find them the first time around. So, when you talk about jinxes, you can't really talk about like what a jinx is without talking about hoodoo. It's,
Power of the, what is it? Power of the voodoo?
It's
hoodoo?
Oh, you do. Do what?
You remind me of the babe.
Oh, David Bowie's Codpiece.
Hey, if I was her, I would have stayed there.
I would have. You would get to be queen.
Mm-hmm. There would have been no female competition for him whatsoever.
Right. Mm-hmm. Anyway. So in jinxes and hoodoo, there's really a really strong background in hoodoo magic for jinxes, and I think that, like, in all my research, I really didn't find it anywhere else but in hoodoo. Sometimes in hoodoo, they even refer to jinxes as crossing someone. Mm-hmm. So I figured I would give like a very brief, tiny little description of what hoodoo is. Because hoodoo is so massive that, like, I'm not even, like, we would have to do another series of information. Nyota, get down.
She's like, but she gave me ham.
You have food in the kitchen. I was feeding you when she got here. So hoodoo is a set of magical practices which originated in Africa and has been stripped of its original religious dogma. It arrived in the New World with slaves who were taken from their native lands and stripped of their belongings, their identities, and their religion. In order to preserve their beliefs, these slaves adopted some form of Christianity as their religion, absorbing beliefs and practices associated with Native American plant lore and European ceremonial magic, and practiced their beliefs under the guise of their new religion. Today, hoodoo continues to exist as a hodgepodge of religious beliefs and magical practices, with most practitioners adhering to a few common beliefs. So in hoodoo, you're going to see a lot of like Christian type stuff in hoodoo. Stuffs. I'm taking a moment to chew my hash brown.
She just burped.
Yeah, well, she's hungry. So, jinx. The term jinx, okay? Sometimes it's spelled...
By the way, every time your hash brown gets below boob level...
I know.
The dog comes over there.
I know.
You have to hold it.
I have to hold it up.
The tatas.
So jinx is, can be spelled Jinx or Jynx. The word Jynx is actually connected to a bird called I'm going to butcher this, the Wirnix. It's a small woodpecker. Like that.
Hey, I know his name.
Hey, I know his name too. So, sometimes it's a charm or a spell. This word has been found in the English language and written since the 17th century. The modern spelling and connotations developed late in the 19th century, and in the 21st century press, the suggestion of that a ship might be jinxed was first made between the two liners, the Queen Victoria and the Emerald Princess, because they had wrecked. Feel free to make her get down. Is she licking your face?
She's sticking her tongue in my ear.
So, a jinx is very heavily associated, even in our like modern vernacular, as being bad luck. So they said that the Queen Victoria and the Emerald Princess were both ships that were jinxed. In the 20th century, there was an Australian aircraft carrier, the HMAS Melbourne, was sometimes said to have been jinxed because it twice struck friendly ships. And there was a considerable loss of life on both sides. Examples of the term in everyday situations. Calling attention to possible bad fortune is sometimes said to be a jinx. It would jinx, those who you're saying it against. We use the word jinx as well when we talk about something before it happens, prompting someone to say, well, don't jinx it. So by talking about that, like it brings bad luck.
It's like when I worked on the ambulance 24-hour shifts, when I'd go back on station, which was rare, I would never take my boots off because it was a jinx to take them off. Because as soon as they would come off my feet, the tones would drop and we'd have to leave. So I'd have to sleep with my combat boots on.
You would sleep with your shoes on?
Yep. I did. When she stuck her tongue in my ear, it made me go cross-eyed. I don't know what happened. It was weird.
Like in a good way? Or a bad way?
Not in a bad way, no.
Did you enjoy it?
Not sexually, no. Thank you.
Handing her money. We're all over the place this morning.
I'm so tired. I don't even know who I am.
Like, I think it's between the metaphysical fair.
Yeah.
And then this time change. It's really kicking both of our asses.
I can't wait for the next fair. I wish they'd do one once a month. I would be so down.
I think that Teresa and Carrie might die if they tried to arrange one once a month. But anyway. So, you think about that. So in today's people who are like really against magic, like I can guarantee you're going to find a Christian out there who's talked about, well, don't jinx it.
Yeah.
They're fucking talking about magic. And they don't even realize it.
Well, they don't even realize that their holidays are all pagan, so.
Well, they may realize it, but they just don't want to know. It reminds me of that Jehovah's Witnesses kid. He was watching cartoons.
Holiday!
Yeah, he was. I was playing some cartoons. It was like the Garfield, like just on Netflix, just letting each episode play. And one came up for Halloween.
Yeah.
A Halloween Garfield episode. This kid started screaming holiday at the top of his lungs. Like he was seeing something forbidden and well, he was, but, so like for him, like he was like, holiday! I had to change it.
I remember you sitting there, sneaking and texting me like, I don't know if I can deal with this shit.
Yeah. I was like, listen, of course this is before we knew the douchebaggery that was to come, but because like I follow
The Offspring knew.
The Offspring, yeah. Which by the way, guys, anyone who's listening that met The Offspring at the fair and referred to her as The Offspring, you made her day.
Yeah, I think she thinks she's a celebrity now.
Yeah, she's like I'm the comic relief on the podcast. So anyway, so the term jinx, meaning a charm or a spell, was in use in English as early as 1690. The term jinx was with that specific spelling, the Jinx, is first attested in American English in 1911. Jinx is traced to the 17th century word. Jesus Christ, it's in Latin. Jyng, meaning a spell, and ultimately to the Latin word Iyns, also spelled Jynx, as J and I are the same letter in Latin.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently. And it says that the Latin word Iyns came from the Greek name of the wireneck bird, which is that woodpecker that I was talking about. And that bird specifically is associated with sorcery.
I don't know if this is supposed to be funny, but since I'm so tired, this is really...
Is it tickling you?
It really is.
It is. So the woodpecker, that particular woodpecker...
I don't know why every time you say woodpecker, it makes me laugh.
If you guys want to look up that woodpecker, the way that you spell it is Wryneck. And it doesn't look like a woodpecker that we would think like we have here.
So Ryneck.
Is it Wryneck? Okay.
Because W-R-Y is just rye.
Right. Okay, so it's a wry-necked bird. It's a woodpecker. But that particular bird was used in casting spells and divination. So...
How?
I didn't look up... I didn't go that crazy with my research and look up what to do with your woodpecker.
You know what to do with a woodpecker.
But they did use it. So... ancient Romans and Greeks traced the bird's mythological origins to a sorceress named Lynx, who was transformed into this bird to punish her for casting a spell on the god Zeus. So there's a little bit of information on it, I guess. So anyway. So, now that all of that's done.
Yes.
We need to slow this down a little bit.
Why?
Because I don't know. I don't want to end the podcast early. We might get through this too fast. So, a jinx is a form of magic, as I said before, where the subject gets bad luck, minor misfortunes. It's simple, but it is nasty. But it's not meant to harm anyone, seriously harm anyone permanently or anything like that. Usually, they only last a little while. Jinxes are used to give the target bad luck, a bad hair day, bird poop on their head, simple misfortunes like that. To jinx is usually done only by words or with words and pointing. And sometimes, basically there's 3 ways that you can jinx someone. Just with words, by pointing at them and not saying anything, or by pointing and saying words.
The finger!
The finger! The pointing of the finger actually adds power to the jinx, and you can kind of take it a step further and use larger gestures, such as pretending to shoot someone. Is she? Yeah, she's being cute.
Oh yes, okay.
You got a big old slaughter right across your face. But you can take the gestures a little further, like pretending to shoot somebody, or where you drag your finger across your neck like you're going to kill someone. Those are all examples of hand gestures that you can use. Now, if you think about magic,
she smells
like bad.
I can't put my finger on
because it is. She needs bathed.
Yeah, you don't smell it until she's right up in your face.
Yeah, she needs bathed, and her bedding needs washed. But I was going to do it yesterday, and I just didn't feel like it.
My dogs smell.
Yeah, that's why I always keep a sheet across the couch. I moved it because I didn't want you sitting on the dog sheet, but just to keep that dog smell off the furniture. But anyway,
it's not bad. It's very faint. When Boomer comes in.
Yeah.
He's been running around. He smells straight up like a dead fish.
Yeah.
So.
Well, she has some perfume if you want to put some perfume on her.
Nah.
Okay. It smells like coconut. Doggy perfume. But anyway, so when you think about magic, one of the very first things you learn, when you're starting out, which most people start out in Wicca. We're both not Wiccan. We've said that many times, but one of the things it talks about is using your athame to point, or a wand.
I prefer the finger.
The finger! And that was the point that I was making. They in all those teachings and everything, it says if you don't have an athame, you don't have a wand, you can use your hand, you can use your finger, and point.
Are you an expert on using your finger?
I tell you what, nowadays, yes. It's been a long time since anything other than a finger. Anyway. So yeah, using your hand, and what it is you're directing your magic at the person. So that's why pointing helps it along. So, how they work. The first way to think about jinxes and how they work is to think of bad words that stick. Examples of jinxes would be phrases such as, you'll never amount to anything. You can't do anything right. No guy or girl would ever want someone like you. You ain't worth a dime. You'll never be successful. You screw everything up.
It sounds like verbal abuse to
well,
me.
it's. I mean, yeah, it is, but but it's not just saying it. Like when you're saying it, you're speaking a spell. So like when you say to your child when you're angry and you're like, you're always screwing up. Of course, I would never say that to my kid, and you would never say it to yours. But we work with some people who say a lot worse.
Oh yeah.
To their kids than that. But like if you would say to your kid, "You're always screwing up," that is just a statement. But if you were going to make that a jinx on somebody, when you would say that and you would point at them and you would say, "You're always screwing up," it's with the intention that they're going to start always screwing up.
I gotcha.
You got it? Okay. So when these phrases stick to a person, they work to destroy that person's self-confidence, and ultimately bad luck will follow. Even yelling the word jinx is enough to jinx someone, and that's why like you'll see a lot of times when like kids are playing when kids are playing sports, like let's say that the guy's up to the plate to bat and the other team starts screaming jinx. Those kids are practicing magic when they're screaming jinx at the other team. And they're thinking like psychologically, I'm getting in their head, we're going to freak him out, he's going to miss and he's not going to hit the ball. Which is the intent of that jinx, of that spell. They don't realize that's what they're doing, but that's what they're doing. The second form of a jinx involves pointing, either with one's finger or an object. Also included in this intimidation gestures, such as, shooting a pretend gun, with your fingers. Of course, when doing this, one is unconsciously sending ill will, even possibly death wishes to the person. Now, with regard to pointing, like, we're not talking about, like, when you're just pointing, like, I'll point at you and say, hey, hey, Dawn. Mm-hmm. That's... We're not talking about, like, just pointing at objects.
Hey, is that why in a lot of cultures it's considered a huge insult for somebody to point at you?
Yeah.
Because my first mother-in-law was Filipina. And within the first couple weeks that I met her, I talked with my hands a lot.
Yeah, I do too.
I had pointed while I was talking. She lost her fucking mind.
Mm-hmm. But you have to, when you're thinking about the pointing, it's not just like when you're pointing like in a direction or pointing at an object or whatever. It's called point. Like I said, it was pointing with purpose. With intent. I'm trying to eat my sandwich, and this dog.
She keeps looking at me and then looking at your McMuffin.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, now this bitch over here gave me her ham.
Yeah. But it's pointing with purpose. It's pointing with intent. And, we know with magic that it's all about your intent.
Yeah.
And it's all about your belief. You can do a spell. It's one of the cat.
Oh.
One of the cats was back there prancing around. You can do spells all day, every day. And if you don't believe them, nothing's going to happen.
Exactly.
You're wasting your candles. You're wasting your materials. If you don't believe it's going to happen, and that's kind of go off topic a little bit. That's why a lot of people kind of turn away from this path and look at this path as being something that's not true or whatever. Because they didn't really believe it, and because they didn't really see any results, then they're like, fuck, this isn't real.
What's so cool about the offspring is that I've been teaching her about this for...
Well, basically, since she was born. I mean...
That child can manifest like there's nobody's business.
Yeah.
Because she has never doubted it.
Yeah. Like, didn't she even, like... cut her period short one time?
Yeah.
She was just like, you know what?
I'm done.
I'm tired of having this. I'm tired of feeling it. Body, you are going to shut down this process.
Like, and
it stopped. It did. And it didn't start back up, or because we were both thinking like she was just starting, and like she may have a couple days where nothing happens and it'll pick back up. It was like no until next month.
Yeah.
She was done.
Yeah.
And, you know, so her simple belief.
Yeah.
Now she's in there eating that dog food. Because she realized I'm not going to give her anything.
Like, I'm not going to give specifics, but the stuff I've seen my daughter do with magic, it's almost scary.
Yeah.
Because of how she has 100% belief in it.
Yeah.
Because me, even as experienced as I am in witchcraft, I was raised in Christian school, going to church 80 times a week. So there's always going to be that little bit of Christianity doubt that pops up with me my whole life. She doesn't have that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she can do some pretty terrifying stuff when she wants to.
Yeah, and we've even talked about that, like, you know, because you don't ever want to stifle her.
No.
But at the same time, you're like, let's slow our roll a little bit.
Yeah, she's never cursed anybody, thank goodness.
Yeah. Oh, sure. And I think that, like, because you're quick to curse. Like quicker than I am.
I even do it in my sleep when I'm not.
Yes.
I won't even be planning on cursing someone, and I will dream curse them.
Yeah.
And I'll call you in the morning like, remember how you told me?
Yeah.
Sit on it a few days. Well, my subconscious wanted to go ahead and do it.
Yeah. So what you do is you tell her, like, you need to talk to Ravenwind.
Yeah.
And I'm usually able to be like the voice of reason with both of you, really. and be like, well, let's not be hasty, you know. But anyway. So there's a third form of a jinx, and that's when people jinx themselves with negative self-talk. If you find that you are constantly putting yourself down with negative self-talk, such as, I'll never lose weight, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve this or that, you know, you're jinxing yourself. And I'm getting the look. I'm getting the mom look right now. And what's funny is that's not my statement. I pulled that from one of those websites. So that wasn't me, like, but I do say those things to myself. So, and that right there, yeah, it's a jinx, because, you know, jinx, when you talk about jinxes, it's all about, like, words.
What you put out is what you get back.
But that's also exactly the law of attraction.
Words are energy.
So if you want to look at that from our kind of belief standpoint with the law of attraction, and that words are energy, so even a jinx itself is us directing, you know, us using the law of attraction on somebody else, like to attract that stuff into their lives. So, you know, now that you kind of know what they are, of course, with the ones that, with the jinx that's against yourself, you just need to try to have more positive thoughts about yourself. It's like that fake, I say it all the time, fake it till you make it.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, pretending that everything is good and eventually it will be good.
Have you noticed how much calmer I am since because I was working on that curse doll in the jar.
We'll put her in her box.
I was charging it for like,
my
close to a year.
Goodness, yeah. Come on. Come on.
But have you noticed how much calmer I am? And, you know, more peaceful and everything since I went ahead and finished the, whatever you want to call it, ritual, but finished the course or whatever. Yeah. And let that shit fly.
And I tell you, if you guys, if you're not in the Facebook group, you can find us on Facebook under Feather and Bone. The picture, there's a couple different Feather and Bones on Facebook. Ours is the one, it's like a white photo with like a black feather and antlers in it. But if you're not part of the group, go join the group, because there's a video of her completing this curse that she has been working for over a year. Holy balls of fire, Batman. You melted a metal can.
Yeah.
You were burning that in a metal can and melted the fucking can.
Yeah, I showed you on my porch. There's nothing left.
Yeah, there's like the ring from the top and the ring from the bottom of that metal can. That's all that's left. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, like, okay, I need to talk to your husband. Because you've been telling him forever that you want a burning pit, like something where you can do this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So you did it on your back deck, which is wood.
Yeah, I was standing there. That thing burned forever. I was
Yeah.
standing there a good 45 minutes watching it.
Yeah.
And I kept having to put snow around it and everything. I was like, holy fuck!
Yeah, you're going to set your house on fire. Like, you haven't even been in the house a full year yet.
No.
And you almost set it on fire doing curse work.
Yeah.
He needs to make you a burn pit. I'm going to have a discussion with you. But yeah, if you haven't, you need to go check it out. Like, it's just fire. Like,
I really didn't think it would burn like that.
yeah.
I thought because of the material and everything, I thought I was going to have to keep relighting it.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
No. Yeah.
It went up.
Yeah.
One more thing.
Okay.
You know how that doll was full of nails and needles and a knife?
Yeah.
Where is it? It's gone.
Yeah, because I put a knife through its head.
Yeah. Now, obviously, the noose around its neck, that burned. But all those needles and nails and everything,
They melted away too, I guess.
that's crazy.
It is.
That's crazy.
That's actually pretty fucking awesome.
I was pretty pissed off at her.
Well, you know.
But anyone that knows me very well knows that it was justified.
Oh, yeah.
It was very justified.
Yeah, and this is one of the, like, now, and I think that you finally turning on that situation and being like, enough is fucking enough, kind of opened the floodgate for you to curse everybody else. Because, I mean, we're kind of off topic a little bit. We're talking about cursing instead of jinxing, but
I'm tired.
yeah. You know, because you put up with that shit for like 6 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's...
Yeah.
Enough's enough at that point. So, you know, now that you know what they are and how they work, and so I mean, and this is really jinxing someone is like the easiest form of this kind of like quote unquote darker magic. Like, we don't believe in that.
So, could you do the opposite of a jinx to someone?
Like, wish them good luck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would that be called?
Well, I don't know what it's called. I mean, you could do anything with magic.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was thinking of my son.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Negative Nancy himself.
Oh, you know, I would love to see you do it. Because he's so tightly wound. And if you were to point at him and be like, you're going to have a great day. He'd be like, Jesus fucking Christ. What?
You're stressing me out, Mom.
Like, now I feel pressure to have a great day. What if I wanted to have a bad day? I'm sure you could. I mean, I'm sure you know, and it may even still be because we're the ones, well, I don't want to say we're the ones, but I would say that Christians are probably the ones that put the negative connotation on what a jinx is by making it, because, you know, if you connect it to witchcraft at all, then obviously it's bad.
Yeah.
And then, you know, especially when you connect it to hoodoo.
Hoodoo?
You do.
So, I'm sorry.
Do what?
It reminded me of the babe.
You know, because when you look at people that are actually practicing hoodoo, root work, like all of that kind of stuff, to a Christian, that's fucking scary looking.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe it was just that was where it was kind of connected to, is why it has such a negative connotation. I'm wondering if even jinxing someone with good luck is still a jinx. It's just we think of it as in negative terms.
I was about to say, let me Google it, but then I remembered that won't work. So.
Yeah.
Remember the day I was trying to look up something to read on crazy ass Doreen Virtue?
Yeah. And I think we were on the podcast, and
Yeah.
I had to tell you how to do it to find it. Anyway. You're horrible at it.
I
am. So now that you know what they are, we'll talk a little bit about like how to protect yourself from them. In order to protect oneself from jinxes, it's important to enforce one's will and confidence. Jinxes only work when they stick. If one develops a good, strong will and self-confidence, then the likelihood of a jinx sticking to them is slim. Other ways one might protect themselves is by crossing your fingers or spitting. Yes.
That's gross.
Spitting.
I have a real issue with guys that just stand out in public and you see them just spitting.
Yeah.
They're standing there having a conversation, turn their head and spit. It's like, dude.
Yeah.
Don't do that. It's fucking gross.
Well, okay, I understand. Like, it's still gross, don't get me wrong. But if they're spitting because they've got a big old wad of chew in their mouth, at least then I understand why. You can't swallow that. Shouldn't be doing it because it's nasty and it's gross and it gives you jaw cancer.
And I used to date a guy. I didn't know he dipped when I first...
When I dip, you dip, we dip.
You guys should have seen the dance she just did.
It wasn't a dance, it was a shuffle. It was like the
it was
truffle.
A shimmy?
It was the truffle shuffle from Goonies.
Oh my God! But he would have that shit in his mouth and try to kiss me.
No.
And you know me. I'm like, ew, get the fuck away from me.
No, he would need to go get rid of the chew.
Yeah.
He would need to brush his teeth,
Mm-hmm.
use some mouthwash,
and then wait 2 days.
maybe even floss. Maybe even floss.
And then it would turn into an argument because his feelings would be hurt. You don't like me. You don't want to kiss me. I'm like, no, you're being fucking nasty.
Yeah, like, I don't want to kiss your cancer mouth.
Ugh.
Ugh. Yeah, that's right.
Ugh.
So the spitting thing, that actually derives from the superstitions regarding the evil eye. And it's primarily used when a person is discussing something that hasn't officially happened yet.
So what is the evil eye?
It's just another part of hoodoo. It may come up in the hexing part. I'm not really sure. Because like when I said earlier, like if you're going to when you're pointing for a jinx, like you need to point with purpose and with intent. Maybe like I think the evil eye is the same thing. It's like with your eyes, you're conveying. Like
the monkey in Chris's closet.
Yes.
On Family Guy.
Yes. And he is doing the evil eye and he's pointing.
Vehemently.
That's actually a good example.
That's what I think of every time you talk about pointing.
Yeah, that's a really good example of like the type of pointing that you should be doing when you're going to jinx somebody. So yeah. But like the whole spitting and stuff like that, like if it hasn't happened yet. Oh, good Lord. I'm dying.
What's the matter with you?
I'm dying. Oh, it's like I had something caught in my throat. Like a dick.
Is that what it feels like?
Ghost dick.
Oh, damn.
We had a conversation about that the other day.
Who did?
You and me.
Ghost dick?
Remember you were reading that article about people that say they've had sexual encounters with ghosts?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
We had well, no, I didn't. My husband did. No, wait, I might have been there. Hell, I had so many. There was a woman who called 911 who claimed she had been raped by a ghost.
Oh, yeah.
And she had, like, squirted dish liquid in her crotch.
What?
To try to preserve the ghost semen and all this crazy stuff.
You know what? She missed an opportunity.
For what?
If
an
I was,
infection?
No, if I was going to claim that a ghost had raped me.
Yeah.
And I put dish liquid in my vagina.
Yeah.
One, it would need to be Dawn, like the Blue Dawn.
Yeah.
Dish soap. And I'd be like, it's plasma.
Yeah, she was crazy.
Yeah, I would say so. But anyway.
You'll have to ask him to tell you that story.
Oh, and I love it when he tells ambulance stories because he gets so animated. Mm-hmm. Like the rest of the time, like you don't even realize he's breathing because he's so quiet and he doesn't move. And
you mentioned 911 calls or politics.
Yeah.
He's like a completely different human.
Yeah. Anyway. So if by chance someone does become jinxed, as in the jinx stuck to a person, they're actually feeling its effects, then cleansing or reversal rituals and spells will need to be performed to remove the jinx or reverse it back to the person who caused it.
Look, okay, the front half of her is now black.
Yeah.
And the back half of her is silver.
Yeah, well, I told you she looked like a silverback gorilla.
Wow.
If you guys have never seen the cat breed Lykoi, Lykoi, I have a little Lykoi kitten. They're known as the werewolf cat because their faces look like a werewolf.
My husband calls her Chernobyl cat.
Well, he can only call her Chernobyl cat when she's wolfing out. Wolfing out is what they call when, because they molt, like how birds molt and they lose their feathers. Well, these cats molt.
Was that right over here on this road?
It's hard to tell.
I'm parked like an inch from your house. Look at how close I got to your house.
Well, if that's what it was, they got by.
Okay.
But the cats, they call it wolfing out, and a couple times a year they lose their fur. But they don't lose their fur all over. So they look like they've been irradiated. And that's why he calls her a Chernobyl cat. But when the hair grows back, it can grow back a different color than what it was the last time they had fur.
Yeah.
When we first got her, because you went with me to Tennessee to pick her up from the breeder.
Yeah.
And when we got her, she was solid silver.
Yeah.
And then she had her first molting. And she was...
It was like a dark gray.
A dark gray. And then she's had a second molting. And when it come back this time, like her face and her front shoulders are black. But then like from behind her front shoulder blades back, she's like a dark gray. And black's like... I don't even know how to explain that.
I like this color combo.
You're like, I approve.
I like it.
And they actually, their skin color will change too if they're in the sun. They tan, and turn darker colors if they tan.
I gotta tell you, this is gonna sound corny, but the way she's built, with the way her legs are made, and everything, she reminds me of Professor Lupin when he changes.
Oh yeah,
on the full moon.
Yeah. And they have, their personalities are very dog-like. They're very, because a lot of cats are very, like, standoffish and, loners. They have a pack mentality. They like to be in groups of other animals. And she'll play fetch with me. Like, I can throw something, she'll bring it back. So, yeah, she's different. Oh, shit, we got way off topic. You get me talking about my pets, guys. And it's on like Donkey Kong. So you know how to protect yourself from a jinx now. Now, like, most witches, I'm not going to say all witches know, most witches know how to protect themselves. And just with visualization and setting the intent and your own energy and, creating that invisible, shield to bounce things away from you. I think that would help with jinxes as well. But having a good self-worth and good self-esteem will help with jinxes as well. So we're going to break them now. We're going to break a jinx or get uncrossed, as it's sometimes said in hoodoo. So this is an actual ritual that you would do. What are you doing?
I have something in my eye.
I look up from my paper. And you've got your bottom eyelid pulled all the way down. Like you've had a stroke. I'm like, what are you doing?
I was using my reverse camera to try to look in my eye.
Okay. So if you have the suspicion that you have been jinxed, you've been having a really bad string of bad luck, things aren't going your way. Now, we are in Mercury retrograde right now. And a lot of people, like, I've never felt the pull of Mercury retrograde. I've never felt it.
I never even know it's Mercury retrograde unless somebody's like, hey.
Yeah.
It's Mercury retrograde.
We know a witch.
I know several.
Well, we know a witch, and he tends to live for the times when it's in retrograde, because then he likes to blame every little thing in his life on the retrograde. It's like, no, you just make poor life decisions.
And Asen knows who we're talking about.
Yes. Let's just in case Asen forgot.
I'll give him a clue.
You want to give him a clue?
Bitch.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
He's sitting there going, oh my God.
Yeah. He's like, I can't take him anywhere. So here's, if you have a feeling that you have been jinxed and you're having a really bad luck, if you're one of those people that think it's, Mercury retrograde and that's what's going on, you can still try to break it just in case it is a real jinx and it's not the retrograde. I almost said metrograde. Oh God, I need sleep.
Me too.
So here's a little ritual that you're going to do. Okay, you're going to need 2 white candles, for uncrossing. So you would set because like if you go into hoodoo shops, you can actually buy white candles that are for uncrossing. So those candles have been set with the intent by the hoodoo practitioner for this specific thing.
For the what?
For the kiss my ass. See, okay, I'm gonna get off topic again. I had a friend of mine show up at the fair from out of town. And you asked, she was like, she said, I listened to the podcast and we were all excited. Guys, we had groupies. Like, it wasn't even, like, we didn't realize that so many people were listening to the podcast.
No.
But she's like, yeah, I listened to the podcast. And you were like, do I really give her as hard a time as she says that I do? And she you could tell she didn't want to answer because she knew that, like, she wanted to offend you or whatever. She's like,
that's pretty hard to do.
I know. She's like, yeah, you kind of do. So it has been confirmed that you do give me a hard time. But no, if you go into and this oh my fucking God. This particular
a nice save.
This particular spell does have a lot of ingredients in it that you would get from a hoodoo practitioner, from a hoodoo shop, whether that's actually going in or going online you can buy a lot of this stuff on Amazon. Would you stop?
She's not talking to me, guys.
No, that was the cat this time. A lot of this stuff you can find online. Amazon will have a lot of this stuff. But as far as the candles, if you don't buy, uncrossing candles, you would just, like what you and I do, is set the intent by holding the candle and, like, pretty much telling the candle, this is your intent. This is what you're for. This is what you're going to do. So it would be for uncrossing. You would also use some uncrossing oil to dress them. Again, you would just search online for uncrossing oil. And
speaking of
you'll
that,
be able to
guys,
buy it.
You could go in your cabinet and use some fucking Crisco if you wanted to.
Exactly. You set the intent.
As you're putting it on the candle, you're like,
yeah.
I can't think. But
now,
you get the idea.
Yeah. Now, I will kind of, because there's a lot more oils that are mentioned in this, but I will say this. If you're going to do, like, if you're going to make your own oils to use, like, right there on the dot, on the second, then vegetable oil, like whatever you have in your cabinet, olive oil, that's fine. But if you're going to make a large batch of oils to use and store or to sell, you can't use that kind of oil.
No, absolutely not.
It will go bad very quickly, and will spoil your ingredients and everything. Like, you have to use a high quality carrier oil.
Like for the ones I made and was selling at the fair, I used grapeseed carrier oil.
Yeah, that's like just dressing your candle when you're getting ready to do a spell real quick and you need something to make your herbs stick on your candle. Vegetable oil, olive oil is fine. But if you're going to make an infused oil, then you do need to use a carrier oil.
Yes.
So, Just a little witch tip for you.
Which tit?
Witch tip. Just the tip.
I fell for that.
That's how your first child got here.
It is.
Anyway.
It is.
So you would dress the candles with the uncrossing oil.
Don't let him ever hear you say
no.
that.
I'll start calling him Tip, and he'll have no idea why.
He's damaged enough. He doesn't need to hear that.
It's also important, before you light the candles, that you take a purifying bath with purifying herbs.
Why?
Because you're wanting to get anything nasty, like energy spell wise, off of you. Like you're trying to start fresh, trying to start clean.
Okay, my Dollar Tree tip for that is just your body wash or your soap that's in your hand. Just put some salt on it.
Yeah.
And wash yourself with salt.
Yeah.
Because salt, nothing negative can cross over salt anyway.
Right. So, but
we
both went to the like word word to your mama. They do talk about using the herb. How do you say this? Is it hyssop? HYSSOP.
I'm not sure.
Hyssop.
I think Asen called it hyssop in our lesson on
Hyssop. Well, it's HYSSOP, whatever that is.
You down with OPP? Yay.
Yeah, you know me.
Hey, this does smell good.
It doesn't it smell nice?
Yeah.
Yeah, I spray her with that.
I like it.
And she doesn't stay, like, I use that between baths. But anyway. But what you would do is you take those herbs. Now, I would never suggest just letting herbs free float in your tub. Because, one, you don't want to clog up your drain. Two, it's hard to clean out once you're done.
Can I say something or will it fuck you up?
Go ahead.
Neither Ravenwind nor I like sitting and soaking in a bathtub.
Mm-mm.
We're both shower people.
Yeah.
So don't ever think you can't just rub this shit on yourself in the shower. You don't have to soak in it.
Yeah, and like here's because what I was going to say, like if you're doing the bath, like if you have cheesecloth or even like an old pantyhose or what, cheesecloth?
No, I didn't think you were going to say cheesecloth. I think you were talking about bathing and you mentioned cheese. So I thought you were going somewhere.
No. I don't even know where I would go. Anyway, if you have cheesecloth or you could stop gesturing to your crotch. You would, tie, like make a sachet and tie, the herbs up in the cloth. Or
is it called a sachet or a sachet?
I always say sachet. But I am from Webster County.
I truly don't know.
Where we say things differently.
Like we was?
Yeah. It's like, I don't know, maybe it's not a Webster County thing. Maybe it's just my house thing. But growing up, like, when you go to Walmart and you get those Walmart plastic bags.
Yeah. Even
a Walmart bag was referred to as a Foodland bag.
Well, you've got me saying case knife now instead of butter knife.
Yes. Okay, in my family, we always called butter knives case knives. And the first time I ever said, where's your case knife? She's like, what? I'm like, your case knife? What the fuck's a case knife? And the only thing I can figure, because I've never heard that outside of my family.
I'd never heard it till I met you.
Because Case is a brand of knives, like from back in the early 1900s. I think they still make like hunting knives and stuff today. But the only thing I can figure is that somewhere along the line, one of my family members bought a Case knife and was really proud of it.
I was going to say they were really proud of that knife.
Yeah. So then all butter knives became Case knives. We are like we're like fucking bunnies. We're hopping all over the place today.
I know.
But anyway, if you're going to, like, if you like us and you don't like to take a bath and you're going to take a shower, I would even, like in a drink pitcher, steep your herbs, and then once you're in the shower, just pour it over you.
Speaking of pitchers.
Yes.
Yours is still in my refrigerator.
With pop in it?
I think you drank all the pop.
I didn't drink any of that pop.
Really?
Someone drank it, but it wasn't me. Michael.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought you did.
No. Now they say that like for the best results when you're doing this bath, whether you're bathing, pouring it over you.
She's bathing herself with her hands.
Oh yeah.
Every time she says bath.
I talk with my hands. I can't help it. But they say you should do it every morning for 13 days.
Oh God!
To clear away a really bad jinx. Like if you're like fuck my life. Like if you can't wake up without having bad luck, then you might need to do this for 13 days.
I think they might need to revamp how they speak and talk to themselves.
Now I always say like how in the Bible is it Psalms? Psalms. This is where kind of like hoodoo is connected a lot to Christianity and the Bible, because this talks about Psalms. Yeah,
that's great.
From whatever that herb hyssop or hyssop or however you say it is actually mentioned in the Bible for purification.
Really?
Yeah. But if you're not a Christian, you can still use the same herb. Like it's not a strictly Christian herb. So
Gwendolyn's gonna laugh at that.
Yeah. Jesus is like, now guys,
that's not a strictly Jesus herb.
God. So to prepare for the bath, you either brew up the herbs into a tea and strain it, to then pour over you, or however you're going to do it. You recite the 51st Psalms from the Bible. Or if you don't have a Bible.
Is it like the book or the verse? Or just read the whole...
There's a specific one. You recite. Like it says you recite
Psalms. You just read the whole thing.
Yeah. But if you don't have a Bible,
I have like 20.
Or you don't believe in Jesus, so you don't care what the Bible says.
Jesus believes in you.
You can do an uncrossing spell of your choice.
I need a nap.
As you pour that, the water over your head, or if you're setting in it and you're pouring it over your head, or you're pouring it over your head from a pitcher in the shower, like whatever, you recite that as you do that. So I'm guessing you would either have to have it.
How the fuck are you going to recite Psalms in the shower?
I'm wondering if you would have to have it memorized, or maybe like in a Ziploc baggie, like taped to your shower wall so that you can read it as you do it. I don't know. But that's what you're supposed to do. When you finish the bath, step out of the tub and light the 2 white candles.
And you found this on a witchcraft site?
Yeah. Well, hoodoo site.
Okay.
She's trying to get up in the window. Step out of the tub and light 2 white candles that have been dressed with the uncrossing oil. Stand between the candles and don't dry yourself with a towel. Let the bath water dry on you as in the air as the candles burn. You're going to recite the 37th Psalm, and then you got to pinch out your candles. Don't blow them out. You got to pinch them out. And that's only if you intend to do it for 13 days. You would pinch it out. Now, if you're only going to do it once, then you would just let the candles burn until they go out on their own, no matter how long it takes. So, you and I, we always use tea lights.
Yeah.
We'll use big pillar candles like as luminary candles. But for spell work, we always use tea lights. So even if you were going to do this 13 days in a row, I would still say use tea lights and let those fuckers burn out on their own. Mm-hmm. Because I'm not going to pinch a flame out. I'm not going to do that. Would you lick your fingers first and then do it?
I just wouldn't do it at all.
Yeah. So we would suggest using tea lights for that. If you're not a Christian, then instead of reciting the 37th Psalm or whatever, use your voice, just voice your request in your own words that the jinx be lifted and that the one who put it on you be struck down. So after taking this bath, some people use the remaining bath water to wash down their floors and especially the doorstep of their house.
I'm not washing my floors with bath water.
You mix the bath water into a bucket with some Van oil to make it stronger. Wash from the back of your house to the front. Sweep out the front doorway area while the floor is still wet. Once you are done, yeah. I don't think they mean like, because you're thinking like you're going to sweep to get stuff like dirt out. I think they're talking more ceremoniously, like.
So the broom doesn't have to touch the floor.
Right. But while the floor is still wet, and then once you're done with the wash water, you need to carry whatever remains out of your house and pour it onto the ground outside. You don't want to put it down your drain.
That's just like a basic house cleansing. Sound like.
Yeah, and if you're going to do the 13-day ritual that we've kind of like talked about back and forth, you're going to. They say you should do this step every day for 13 days. You and I do good to sweep and mop once a week. I don't see us doing that every day. I wonder though.
Wonder who wrote the book of love?
Because you know, I love my Swiffer.
Yes.
I wonder if I could just wet my Swiffer wet mop.
I thought your door opened.
No, the cat climbed on top of the room divider.
When I joined Crystal Owls.
Yeah.
And Asen had me do a house cleansing. It was the very first thing I had to do.
Uh-huh.
Or was that the other one? Well, anyway, Asen was there. he told me how to do it and how to make it and all this stuff. I put mine in a spray bottle, sprayed it on the floor, and used my Swiffer.
That's what I was saying. I think if you're going to do the 13-day thing...
I even used the Swiffer on my walls.
That's what I'm saying. Like, okay, if you're going to do the 13-day thing, I think it would be a lot easier. Like, because you know how, like, because what I'll do is after I mop, I'll let my Swiffer thing dry on my mop before I throw it away.
Mm-hmm.
Just wet it again the next day in your spell water, and then use it.
I have a thought.
Yes.
Instead of going through all this trouble, why not on a new moon, which is for getting rid of things in your life and new beginnings and all that, why not just do a candle for it or something on a new moon?
That's kind of the next thing, because I found two different things.
Oh.
And I think you and I both will like this one a lot better than that one. Okay? Because you and we've said this in the pod.
I gotta clean enough on my my mundane life.
Well, but you and I have often said this in the podcast that, you know, we might be labeled as lazy witches by some people.
That's okay.
That's okay. We're not lazy witches. We're wanting to get the same results in the least amount of time because we've got shit to do.
I've got a family and a job.
Mm-hmm. If you have time to be real ceremonial and taking a bath taking a ritual bath for 13 days in a row and sweeping and mopping your home for 13 days in a row and you have the time to do that, that's fucking fantastic. You and I, however, don't have that luxury.
Maybe if I lived alone.
Well, I live alone, and I don't have time for that business.
I don't have time to do the ritual stuff that I would like to do.
Yeah.
So I have to keep it quick and dirty.
Could you imagine, like, in the middle of trying to ritually clean the floor? Because when we're home, we're usually signed on to the network.
Yeah.
To make money, reading tarot online. And all of a sudden, in the middle of me ritually trying to clean the stuff out of my house, I have to talk to someone about why their boyfriend has ghosted them and they haven't seen them for 12 days.
Yeah.
It's just not, for us, it's not feasible.
The question I've been getting a lot lately on the network, which is driving me nuts, is how do you know what you're seeing in the tarot cards is right? It's like, and my response, and I can't say this because I don't want to get fired from the network. My response is, why are you bothering calling to get a reading?
Yeah, if you don't believe what you're being told. If you don't
believe it, if anything I say to you, you're going to be like, okay, then why are you spending your money on this shit?
Well, and okay, so that comes from, I call it, you know how they call like doctor shopping? Where you kind of go around and find a doctor who's just going to give you the pain meds you want? Mm-hmm. Well, that's psychic shopping.
I don't like it.
Those people have called so many psychics because they're trying to find, because you and I, we don't tell people what they want to hear.
No.
And we could make a lot more money if we did. Because you would get regulars, like, because when someone calls up or someone chats up for a reading, and they say like, I haven't seen, my boyfriend and I have been split up for 3 weeks. Are we going to reconnect? From that statement, from their question, we know that they want to hear yes.
Yeah, and
we could tell them yes, and we could And then when even if they would call back, and then we'd be like, oh, well, what happened is between when I talked to you and now, something else changed in your life. There was a shift in your life, and now something better is coming. Mm-hmm. We don't do that.
No.
We're like, he's not coming back.
Yeah.
He's not going to, he's done with you. We usually end up being hung up on immediately. And the reason they hang up immediately is because they still have time left and they want to call another psychic and get the answer they're looking for.
Yeah.
So when those people call you and they're saying like, how do you know what you're seeing in the cards is true? It's because they have been told many different things by many different psychics. Some psychics were being honest. Some psychics were telling them what they want to hear. So now there's this conflict and they're confused and they don't know what's true.
And it makes us look bad.
It does. Anyway, we got off on a tangent. You and I have been having trouble with that. So the big ritual you just saw, or just heard of that I was reading off, is if you don't know who done it, like who done it, done it to you. This one is if you do know who has put the jinx on you. There is a reverse spell that involves black candles. And there's a couple of different ways you can do this. Now, you can also get black tea light candles. Yes. They're not as easy to find. Like, you can't just go into the store. We had to order them from Amazon.
Yeah.
In order to have those. Sometimes around Halloween, though.
Yeah.
They'll have black tea light candles out. And we try to stock up at that point.
I thought we were getting black one time, but it was dark green.
Yeah.
And apparently I'm blind.
Yeah. Well, I thought they were black in the store too. It was the overhead lighting, apparently.
Yeah.
So you want to burn a black candle. Just look
at the candle and say, you're black.
Yeah. Doesn't matter if you're black or white. I tell you, it's a singing day, apparently. Anyway. You want to burn a black candle with their, on their name, either like their name could be on the candle or under their name. If you're going to put their name on paper, you need to put it beneath the candle. You can carve their name on the candle. Now this one right here, I think you'll like. If you use a black candle in the figure of the devil, you can carve their name on it.
How the fuck you get a black candle in the figure of the devil?
Again, it's in those hoodoo shops. Like if you would go onto Amazon right now and look up devil candle.
Yeah. Use
those terms, devil candle. It's going to bring up candles that look like the devil.
I want Asen to teach me hoodoo.
Okay.
Just saying.
Okay. I'm like, okay. But if you do use the devil candle, you can carve their name on it. You would dress it with cast off evil oil. And, that is which is something we would do. Like we would carve their name into the candle. We would dress it with some oil and then burn it.
Sprinkle some shit on it.
Yeah.
Not literal shit. We were talking about corresponding herbs and
stuff. If you don't know for sure the name of the person, because what would be horrible if you thought it was one person and you cursed them and they didn't do anything. Or you said, because this is it's a return to sender.
Well, you could throw in there and say if this is the person that A, B, C, and D.
Well, and it says if you don't know the name of the person, like if you're not sure, carve the words "my enemy" on the candle. You burn the black candle on the toilet tank. A little bitch eat night. A little bit. a little bitch. A little bit each night.
Yes.
you need to burn it when the moon is growing smaller and ending when it's on the dark moon.
What do you mean the dark moon? Do you mean a void moon or the new moon? Or
they just said a dark moon. So I'm assuming if you're going to start when the moon is growing smaller, so it would be like, the day after full.
Yeah.
And you would do it until new moon, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So you would burn it a little bit every day. And you're going to love this. You're going to turn the black candle upside down and extinguish it in the toilet water. Mm-hmm. And you say, and then okay, so leading up to that, you don't do that every night. Like you just blow it out every night until you get to the actual new moon. And, when you extinguish it, you light it that night. And when you extinguish it, you plunge it in the toilet water and you say, thus you will, whatever their name is, meet your fate.
In the toilet.
In the toilet. Because we were telling someone just at the fair, when we was at the metaphysical fair, like, hey, a quick and dirty way of cursing someone and getting them out of your life is to write their name on some toilet paper, and when you take a deuce, wipe with it and flush them down the toilet.
I'm laughing because it made me think when I was on the phone with you last night. And all of a sudden we hear the offspring go, maybe she's got to take a deuce. We're like, what?
You want to throw the remaining black candle stub and wax into a crossroads. Or into the yard of the person, that, like, if you know for sure who it was, throw it in their yard.
Oh my God. Could you imagine if I had just partially burned my cursed doll and dropped it in her yard?
Yeah. I don't think it was an option for you to partially burn that thing, though.
No.
Because it was like, you ever see those videos online where, like, the idiot pours the gasoline, like, all over his big, bonfire?
Yeah.
And then he walks away for a little bit, and then he comes back, and it's this big whoosh.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what your doll did.
It did.
Which, I say idiot, because anyone who knows anything about any combustible liquid like gasoline knows that you need to light that shit right away. If you let it set, the fumes from it will also ignite, and you could burn your face off. Fire. So that was it on Jinxes.
I was going to say something, but I don't remember what it was.
What were you going to say?
I don't remember what it was.
I was hoping that if I asked that, it would just, like, spontaneously make you remember.
I'd like to remember.
Oh, man. I just dropped egg in the floor.
But I don't think I'm going to remember. Shit.
So as of right now, our next event will be Beltane in the Forest.
Yes.
Unless
there's another...
Yeah, unless there's another psychic fair or something. But that will be our next one. Beltane in the Forest happens in Charleston, West Virginia.
I like Beltane.
It's real fun. It's a free event. You can find them on Facebook if you look up Beltane in the Forest.
When's Pagan Pride Day?
I don't know the day off the top of my head, but I think it's in July, isn't it?
It's definitely after.
Oh yeah,
Beltane.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason, I don't want to set up a booth at Pagan Pride Day is because we're usually working at every pagan event, and I'd like to be able to go to Pagan Pride and actually just hang out and have fun and watch the performers and.
Yeah, well, and I was telling Lady Gwendolyn, because she's helping to organize that this year. That I can't even promise that you and I will even be able to go. With our regular jobs, if a judge orders a visit to happen on a weekend, like on a Saturday, like we have to go.
And we have a case like that right now.
Yeah. So, I mean, it just depends on, that one's not every Saturday. But if it falls on that Saturday, there's nothing we can do. Mm-mm. You know, we if you're court ordered, you're court ordered. I'm not going to jail for nobody. So, I mean, we'd love to be there.
Oh yeah,
we would love. We went last year, but I just wasn't feeling well. It was too hot. Someone was trying to, because they were asked if we were there last year, and I was like, yeah. I said, if you saw two chicks walking around with umbrellas, even though there wasn't a cloud in the sky, I said that was us.
Yeah.
Because we were trying to keep the sun off ourselves.
We choose not to sweat.
Yeah. And I brought the umbrella that I bought was specifically, like, obviously you can use it for the rain, but it also repels the sun.
Yeah.
So I was real serious about my sun protection.
Well, from my second pregnancy, I got that thing, it's called cloasma, to where if I'm out in the sunlight like that, I get dark splotches on my face.
Yeah.
I call them Jesus Christ, giraffe spots.
Yeah.
So they're finally fading after 13 years. So I would prefer not to have them come back.
Yeah.
But I was told I have to just always wear hats, sunscreen, stay under an umbrella.
Yeah.
But hey, I just won't have wrinkles like a lot of other people.
I don't have wrinkles because of you.
I know. Don't you love me?
We'll tell one more story because we're done with the Jinx stuff.
Are we?
Yeah. But we'll tell one more story and then we'll sign off. So if you've listened or you've not listened, this is your first episode, whatever. I had brain surgery about 2 years ago. I had a tumor. It wasn't like in my brain. It was on the sac around my brain.
Your brain sac.
My brain sac.
Jesus, that sounds awful.
And where it was at was like if you make a fist with your hand and where your fingers kind of touch your palm, like that frontal lobe part where it meets the bottom half of your brain, that's where it was. Like right between my eyes and like my sinus area, like back in that section. And, so to get it out, they had to make an incision across the top of my head.
All the way from ear to ear.
From one ear across the top to the other ear. And then they peeled my forehead down.
Oh, God.
They were going to go through my forehead to get to it. Because that's where it's at. Like, it's like right down in that area. But my skull was too thick.
Yes.
Like, literally, it was too thick for them to get through at that point without risking, like, cutting into a vein that runs through there. So they ended up having to go through my temple on the right side. They took a bone flap off, and they went behind my eyeballs, or behind my eyeball, rather, and took it out through there. So she told them that when they were putting me back together, to go ahead and give me a little bit of a facelift.
Just make it a little tighter.
Yeah, she's like, you're gonna be sewing her, back up anyway. Just go ahead. She told my doctor, jokingly, to give me a facelift. I had the best doctor ever. Not only was she very intelligent, and
she should be like president.
Because she's a neurologist, she's a neurosurgeon, and she's an oncologist.
Yeah.
And she's younger than both of us. Mm-hmm. So like she's like next.
And she has a kid.
And she has a child. And she's like next level smart. Okay.
Yeah.
She took you at your word.
I know.
And she gave me a facelift that I did not need or ask for. So after the surgery, I'm swollen anyway because they peeled my face down to do this. And now, not only am I swollen, but everything was pulled up.
You looked like you were surprised for about 6 months.
I did. I really did. And the way that in order to give me this impromptu facelift, like some of my skin was rolled on top. So I have in some places along my incision, I have like a roll of skin that has scarred, and it's like...
What's funny about that, I have to say, and you know I'm not exaggerating when I say no one ever listens to me.
Yeah.
The one time somebody freaking listens to me.
I mean, I'm sure one day in the future I will thank you for this.
You will.
But here we are 2 years out, and I still have issues with my incision because of what you asked her to do.
I didn't think she would take me seriously.
I have basically no feeling on top of my head because of the nerve damage. And I have, like, in that one spot where it's rolled, I have sores. I constantly have sores on my head.
But your face looks great.
It does. It really, like, I do look like I've, not had any facial expressions my entire life. Thank you. So yeah, like, if you're ever going in for any type of procedure, you need Dawn to come with you to the consultation before the surgery. I don't care what it is, because she'll find some way to get you a free cosmetic procedure.
Well, my husband had to have that little Warthin's tumor removed from his salivary gland, and I was at the doctor with him, and he had one on each side, and they were doing the bigger one first, and I said, well, while you're in there, when you sew him up, just do it a little bit tighter, give him a little bit of a facelift. And the doctor's like, okay. And he did. Well, my husband never went in and got the other one done. So now on one side...
he's lifted and...
he's tucked and everything.
And then the other side of his face...
there's more wrinkles on the other side.
It's like if he's looking at you from one side, he's 10 years younger than he is from the other side. But yeah, she'll find some way. You could be going in to have one of those kidney stones removed where they actually cut through your back and get to it. And she'd be like, while you're back there, give her a butt lift.
While you're in there.
And they'll be like, okay. It's craziness.
It's almost like I put the idea in their head, and then they're just curious to know if they could actually do it.
Well, thanks.
You're welcome.
I have a sore on top of my head right now.
Anytime.
And I click.
You click. I click. You click. Click.
Because, like, the scar tissue now, the way that it was done, and, like, my scalp has not reattached to my skull. And at this point, 2 years out, it may never reattach to my skull. So the scar tissue that's under there, where they did this impromptu tuck and roll to make my face tighter, it now catches on my hardware, like on my screws and my plates and stuff. So it'll click, like, and you've heard the clicking. Like, it's not just something that I'm hearing in my head. Mm-hmm. Other people, I can move my scalp and it's like click, 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 click.
I'm looking at you while you're talking.
Yeah.
And you're raising your eyebrows. You're trying to do like
I know, it doesn't work anymore.
And your skin won't wrinkle up or anything.
I know.
Right here.
That's what I'm saying. And ever since that happened too, like, my forehead is always real dry now. Like, I'm always having to put moisturizer on my forehead. And I think it's because everything's too tight.
I don't think the tightness would cause dryness.
I never had dry forehead.
Because your crotch... you don't have a dry problem with your crotch, and from what you tell me...
No, wait a minute. What?
After your hysterectomy.
Oh, okay, yes, because I've had a full hysterectomy as well. Guys, I have had some medical issues, let me tell you.
I've never even been put to sleep for anything. Never broken a bone or nothing.
And I'm so used to being put under for surgeries and stuff that, like, I wake up fast. Like, I have zero recovery time from being knocked out. But anyway, I did have a full hysterectomy, and the doctor, we're totally getting off on tangents on this one. There's this whole thing out there now where women are realizing that their male doctors have altered their vaginas, because they think that things need to be done differently. There's actually something called the husband stitch, that they do, like, after a woman gives birth, the doctor would purposely put in what they call the husband stitch to make her tighter.
I think they just need to accept that they don't have very large penises.
Yeah. So this kind of happened to me after my hysterectomy. And you know, it wasn't until like years later when all these stories started coming about, about with these women saying, you know, that sex was painful after giving birth to their child because their doctor did, you know, the husband stitch and this and that. My doctor, after my hysterectomy, when I went to have the first exam to make sure everything was healing properly inside, I want to get graphic and I apologize. You know, he put the speculum in and he's like, "Oh yeah, you're good and tight."
Ew.
Now, at the moment, I wasn't thinking anything about that. I was thinking he was referring to the stitch job that he had done inside. That's what I thought he was referring to. But since then,
I should have been there for that.
Well, I didn't even know you at that point.
I know.
But if I had, you know, I'm sure you would have had my back.
Could you imagine my reaction if I'd been in there when he said that?
You'd be like, I was recording this motherfucker and you're getting sued.
Or else I would be in jail for hitting him.
Yeah. So, because of what he did and how he chose to sew me up after my hysterectomy, because the type of hysterectomy I had was called the Da Vinci, and they go in with robots, so you don't have that traditional cut all the way across your abdomen. And, you know, parts of your uterus is, and like your cervix and everything is brought out through the vagina. And then through your belly button. So when he said that, I thought he was referring to like where he had, because I don't have a cervix anymore, so he had to close that up. So I thought that's what he was referring to. But ever since then, you know, I'm extremely tight in that area now. And
you're not dry.
I'm not dry.
So it has nothing, your forehead, dryness has nothing to do with the skin tightness.
Well, but it's different types of skin, too. The skin that's in that area is not the type of skin that's on your forehead.
You can't blame me for dry forehead.
But sex is painful now. Luckily, I'm a bit of a freak and I like pain.
A bit of a freak?
You know, so it's not that big of a deal.
Just a bit of a freak?
Just a bit. I write smut for a living.
She does, guys. She does.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I'd call it smut.
I would.
You've not even read them. You're my best friend, and I have like 4 or 5 books out there that's been published, and you haven't read a single one of them.
You've told me what's in them.
Well, I told you the general gist of it. I didn't read you the whole fucking story. Jesus Christ.
And I know what a freak you are.
Well,
so I can only imagine.
Yeah. Well, even my mediumship reading, he was like, "Girl,"
he's like, "You're a freak."
I'm like, "Yes, I am." But anyway, wow,
like if she had a shed,
I
would never go out there because I'd be afraid to go out there and find some guy gagged and chained to the wall.
When we're fabulously rich, and I'm able to buy a bigger home, because the home I have right now is just a 1-bedroom. But when we're fabulously rich and I'm able to buy the home that I want, like, there's going to be a room for crochet. There's going to be a room for my witch stuff.
There's going to be a room for me.
There's going to be a room for you when you get tired of your family and you come hang out. And then there's going to be the room that's always locked. that only a certain person or persons can enter.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Anyway. I think we should wrap this
up. See, we should never do podcasts when we're this tired.
We really shouldn't. Okay, guys, at least you got some information. Like, you know what a jinx is. You know some history of it. You know how they
tight her vajayjay.
You know how they work. You know how to protect yourself from them. You know how to, we give you a couple different ways of dealing with them if you are jinxed. So we have met the goals of the podcast.
Sure.
There was just a lot of other information in there today.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to start getting a bunch of friend requests from these guys. Because you couldn't handle it anyway.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. And I ain't got time for that shit.
No.
No.
Cook for me.
Yeah. Do my laundry.
I don't have any groceries.
Here's the thing. I'm a Cancer. I love to take care of people. I'm very home oriented. So that's my thing. I love doing that. And if I had a partner, that's how, I show my love, is I take care of you.
How do I show my love?
Oh, Jesus. Sometimes I feel sorry for your husband.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, like, you two were really meant for each other. There's no one else is ever going to be able to deal with you
that's the truth.
The way that he does.
I think the only person I'm truly, like, soft and tender with and patient and just sweet is my daughter.
Yeah.
Yep.
Watching you and her do homework is enough to make me have a stroke.
You had to leave my house.
I did. I had to leave anyway. Oh, Jesus. We need to end this. We don't need to get on another topic.
I feel like we need to recover the podcast somehow, but I've got nothing.
Well, see, I tried. I was trying. I was talking about like the hexes, or not hexes, but jinxes. And, because we taught them about jinxes today. They did learn that.
Okay. Sure.
And we're going to do hexes next week. And hopefully we won't go as wildly off topic.
I think people expect it at this point.
Well, they're okay, but we usually do. But like today's podcast
was like 20%
hexes or jinxes, and then the rest of it
was just your dog smells funny. You don't have a dry pussy.
Trying to eat breakfast. My mounting medical conditions that I've had to have treated.
Oh, guys, I know this has nothing to do with anything.
Oh, that seems to be the theme today. Go right ahead.
I got, from Ulta, I got one of the Ulta brand body scrubs for the shower.
Yeah.
And I started using the scrub on my legs before I shave. Oh my God, when I shave, my legs are so fucking smooth.
Yeah.
That the rest of the day I'm walking around feeling my legs. I'm like, yes.
When I think about me, I touch myself.
So, try it.
Yeah.
It works.
So I don't...
You use Nair and you almost kill yourself every time because the shower gets slippery.
Yeah, well, yeah, if you're going to buy, like, if you get the Nair with the argan oil in it, just word to the wise, be careful. Because I almost die every time.
She does. She almost dies every time.
Yeah.
And then she goes and uses it again.
Okay, so I think that's it.
Is that all?
Well, later today, I don't know... I don't know when, but later today, we're going to record an unboxing video.
You'll have to remind me.
It'll probably be when we get back from work, don't you think? Or should I come at 2 instead of 3?
I don't know. We can do it tomorrow.
Okay. I was hoping we because we could do it tomorrow.
Because I ordered this box from this woman, and
person.
It's a witchy box. And she sends you this really pretty wooden box. And she sends you all kinds of herbs. She'll send you a crystal, some bones, and she'll even tell you all the correspondences for all the herbs and everything else.
Yeah.
And I haven't pulled anything out of the box. All I did was open the lid and peek in. She crammed that box fucking full.
Okay.
It is packed full of shit. And I asked her to join our group on Facebook.
Yeah.
She did. and asked her to please make a post about her boxes.
And she did.
She did, guys. And I ordered from her. This stuff isn't a joke. She really does take the time to put a nice box together for you.
Yeah.
I mean, and she has different sizes. I got the higher end box. It was $50. It was worth every penny from what I've seen so far.
Yeah.
I was going to try to do an unboxing video to kind of promote her business for her a little bit. At this point, I don't know if it's going to happen.
It will happen.
Even if I just have to lay everything out and take pictures.
Yeah.
And give a shout out to her. I'll do something for her, but I am totally impressed. And she's I don't know how old she is for certain because I don't know her personally, but she looks like she's in her early 20s or something.
Yeah.
So I think it's exciting to see a young witch, pagan person, trying to do something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So clearly she knows her shit.
Well, it's like the offspring wants to learn how to do oils.
So if anybody can, go on our group and look at her post and hit her up because she does a nice job. She really doesn't. And she mailed it and I had it 2 days later. Yeah.
So, I mean, if we don't get around, which I don't think we'll get around to doing the video today.
No.
But if we could do it tomorrow, and we'll do a video of you showing everything because I think it shows it a lot better in a video than it does photos.
Can we do a video of you showing everything?
Sure. I mean, you could just show your hands. Like, I'm not going to show your face. I can just record your hands showing and talking about what they are.
Because you really like doing videos and talking.
Well, it's not. I don't like it. I just know that in this age that we're in, that's what people want to see.
Except me.
Well, true. All right, so
don't ever send me videos or YouTube videos or anything, people, because
she just won't watch them.
I don't.
You send them to her, you're sending them there to die. I'm Ravenwind.
I think I'm Dawn. I'm not sure at this point.
And you've been listening to Feather and Bone Podcast. You can find us on Facebook under Feather and Bone. We also have a website, featherandbone.net. On the website, you can find links to the Facebook group, to our podcast page. There's a pagan calendar of pagan events that's in and around the West Virginia and surrounding areas. There's lessons. Our shop is on there. You can purchase tarot readings from us. We also have product that's on there. So there's a lot of information. You'll get to see photos of our pets. That's on there. That's always important. I added Nyota.
I need to go look.
Yeah. So yeah, check us out. And remember, it's magic, motherfuckers.